Hello everyone, this is Yvonne from Yvonne Ceramics. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to glaze mini Christmas trees like these ones here. This one have texture on it, and then this one have underglaze paint on the candies with a sprayed on effect onto the tree. You can also learn how to make these trees from my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more videos each week. Let's take a look at the Christmas tree we'll be glazing today. So this one, it has texture on the surface. And then this one and this one both have slip decoration on here. And then the candied mold on top. So we will start with this one. I'm going to glaze the little ball and the star with Celadon glazes. For example, this one here I'll use on the star, and then on the surface of the tree I will be using the texture turquoise I'm going to start glazing the star with the yellow Celadon glaze. If you're interested in how I make these Christmas tree, you can go back to my channel, and I have just recently made a tutorial on how to hand build these little Christmas trees. You can also make them bigger. So while I let this dry, I'm going to go on to the little balls. So these kind of represent the ornaments on a Christmas tree, so I want them to be really colorful. So I'm going to use the lavender, and for Celadon glazes you want to put on about 2 to 3 coats and make sure they dry in between. So I also have this one here, sandalwood, which is kind of an orangey color. So I have lots of Celadon, and the reason why I love using Celadon glazes is because they're very stable and they don't move. So it's a great glaze as a liner glaze for your mugs or for a little decoration like these ones here. So I'm going to go ahead and glaze different colors. So I finished glazing the balls with different color Celadon and the star. Next I'm going to do the tree itself. I'm using this color, texture turquoise, and the reason why I'm using it because as you can see here with texture, it will turn this little shade of brown, and then without texture on the surface it will be a nice green color. So that would be perfect for this tree, and I'm using a small brush here instead of the big brush because I want to be able to get around to the underside of these balls. So after I get around the balls, I can start using a fan brush to cover bigger areas. So that's why we need to have different brushes. So after getting underneath the ball, I also have my fan brush here. So I can go with bigger areas. And because the tree is textured, you want to make sure that the glaze does go into the grooves. You don't want it to just sit on the top. And usually when I'm glazing, I like to just make sure it goes into the grooves, and sometimes it goes underneath to the tree, and that's okay because I'm going to clean up later. So with the fan brush, it is actually okay. I can still get into under the ball, but with a smaller brush it will be just easier. So with this glaze, I usually do 2 coats. So I'll go ahead and Finish brushing this glaze on. The next design I want to try is using Celadon glazes to glaze the little candy on the tree, and then the other one I'll use underglaze to glaze the little candy, and then compare the difference between using underglaze and Celadon glazes. So I'll start with the Celadon glaze. I have a lot of them, so I'm going to make it really colorful. So for the last tree, I'll be using various underglazes to glaze the candies, and then after putting on the underglaze, I will put on a clear glaze on top. So with underglaze, if you want a very saturated color, you want to make sure you put on 2 to 3 coats. So that's why it's important to have a few open, so you can, after painting this one color, then you can move on to the next color. And with underglaze, generally the colors are brighter and more saturated compared to Celadon glazes. But at the same time, they are also more expensive. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do the underglazes. I want to quickly compare these two. So this one is with the Celadon glaze on the candies, and then this one is with the underglaze on the candy. And because of the underglaze, I need to put on a clear coat on top, so that's clear. And I'm just going to put a little bit of clear on top. Because my clear is a little bit more liquidy, so watery liquidy, so I'm going to put on 2 coats of this clear onto my underglaze. So I've been thinking on how to glaze the tree. Because the candies are so bright and colorful, I want to just do a gradient color on the backdrop of this tree from light green to dark green using the Celadon glazes. But then it'll be very hard to do because the candies are in the way. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some wax resist here. I'm going to paint on some wax on top of the candies, so that when I spray the glaze on top onto the tree, it will not glaze on the candy because the glaze would repel from the wax. So I'm just using a small paintbrush to brush on the wax on top of the glaze candy. So I just want to quickly show you, you can still see a little bit shininess on top of the candies. Those are wax, so I put a layer of wax on all the candies. And same for this tree here, a layer of wax on top of the clear coat. Just want to quickly show you, after spray glazing the top half of the tree, you can see some of the glaze got onto the candy, and because I put on the wax, the glaze just sits on top of that. So I have a wet sponge here, and I'm just going to clean off that glaze that's on top. And same for here, you see the driplet of that glaze just sitting on top, so you can just use your sponge to clean that off. If you do not clean that off, it will just sit there and dry on top of the wax, and when you're glaze firing, the glaze will stay there. It will burn off the wax, and the green glaze will just sit on top of the candy. So it's very important to clean off that glaze on top of the wax. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to let it dry a little bit, and then I will mix up the darker green glaze and spray on the bottom half. Let's take a look at the 3 Christmas tree before I put them in the kiln. So this one with the textures, and then this one with the Celadon glaze on the candies, and then this one is the underglaze on the candies, and both of these had a glaze spray onto the tree. So I just unloaded the kiln, and I want to show you guys the result of the Christmas tree. So this one is the one with textured turquoise. You can see where I carved is a darker green color, and then the surface is a lighter green color. So I love how the contrast, and then the little balls are different Celadon glazes. And then these two are interesting because the difference is the color on the candy. So this one with the darker contrast would be the underglaze, and this one is with the Celadon glazes. Here you can see both are using purple glaze, but with the Celadon it's a more pastel color, whereas with the underglaze it's more bright, more pigmented color. Both are using sprayed on Celadon. This would be the Amico Wasabi on the top, and then the bottom is the spray on Jade from Amico. I love the ombre color on the trees. Both are looking quite cute. So that's it for today's tutorial. Thank you everyone for watching. See you guys next time. Bye bye.